If your car does any of these things, panic, there's something wrong. Now, when I say panic, I don't mean running around with your arms in the air, panicking and shouting and shrieking, because that's not really going to accomplish much. But think of the letter P-A-N-I-C, and for each of those, we're going to be discussing something we should be aware of. If a car engine fails, it generally doesn't do it overnight by surprise. There's always warning signs, and we need to identify those warning signs so that we can avoid that situation that might lead us to panic. The P in panic would stand for performance changes. If you notice something abnormal when it comes to your car's performance, sluggish acceleration, lumpy idling, refusal to start, poor starting when the engine is warm, loss of power, delayed throttle response, anything that would indicate the car is not performing as normal, that is a symptom there is potentially something wrong that needs to be tracked down and diagnosed. Where do we start? Well, it's always helpful when we go to the mechanic if we can give them as much clues or as much evidence to work from so they can track the problem down. If we can maybe get someone to video the problem as it happens, it would really help, because in most situations people go to the mechanic, describe the problem, and he's unable to replicate it, and if he can't replicate it, it can't be diagnosed. The first thing though anyone should do really is just download the error codes. Make sure that the error codes are logged and recorded somewhere so we can go to the mechanic or diagnose the problem ourselves and have a go at fixing it if it's not too complex. And most modern engines will give you a good clue as to what is seriously wrong. Sometimes you might have to be a detective. You might have an error code that's indicating there is a problem with the fuel mixture, and that could just be down to an air sensor, an oxygen sensor not reading correctly. And you really have to think about the error code and then think about the situation where it's happening, and then you can diagnose the problem and fix it, and you'll be successfully sorting that problem. The A in panic would stand for abnormal smoke or abnormal smells. Cars make smoke, they make smells, but we need to know really what the baseline is, and if we notice anything abnormal, we need to start diagnosing that. We're particularly looking for blue, black or white smoke from the exhaust. They all indicate there is a problem in the engine. Blue smoke tends to mean the engine is burning oil, black smoke tends to mean the engine is running too rich, and white smoke usually indicates there is moisture in the oil or getting into the engine and getting burnt. Does this only happen when the engine is cold, or does it happen when the engine is warm, or does it happen all the time? These are all clues that we can take to our mechanic to help him diagnose the problem. If we notice smells like coolant, burning carpet, burning smells, burning oil, for example, they can all indicate there is a problem in the car. And I've done another video that's discussing all the various different smells that you might notice and how to diagnose and drill down to the problem. So if it's a smell that you've got, have a look at that video and just diagnose where the problem is. It's giving you quite a good clue as to where the potential problem is, so you can track it down and fix it. The N in panic would stand for noises and vibrations. As we're driving along, if we notice a new noise that is just started to happen on the car, note when it happens. Is it when we're accelerating, when we're cornering, when we're steering, when we're going over a rough road surface? And that can help the mechanic to diagnose whether it is a suspension issue, a wheel problem, an engine mount, a flywheel issue. And generally speaking, if the noise changes with speed, it's down to something that is rotating or related to the engine speed. If it's a fairly constant noise, or it only happens when we're steering in one direction and it happens the same at different speeds, it's probably just a suspension problem or a bearing issue. Again, I've done other videos that cover all sorts of noises and vibrations in detail to help you to diagnose the problem. It's too much to cram into this video, but it's something we should be looking out for and be aware of. The I in panic would stand for indicators, and will also include indicator lights on the dashboard, warning lights. The check engine light is a classic example of this, but modern cars have got many different systems, and you may have a warning light that's related to specific systems, ranging from the ABS to the particulate filter regeneration and even oil level. Any light on the dashboard should indicate that there is a problem in the engine that needs to be diagnosed, and getting an OBD2 port code reader and downloading those error codes is just a great way of working out what the problem is. Generally speaking, if I had a light on the dashboard, I would investigate what the problem is before I start driving. A lot of cars have got a color coding system. There are non-urgent warnings like the water washer reservoir is too low, and you've got serious warnings like a brake problem or a check engine light or an airbag issue. And they're generally in various different colors, ranging from perhaps green, amber, yellow to red. It just depends on the brand of car that you've got. Be aware of those warning lights in your manual and work out what they actually mean, and just diagnose where the problem is. Sometimes they're just intermittent things that pop up, nothing too much to worry about, but other times they can be indicators of very serious problems with the car. The C in panic would relate to control and braking feel. If your brakes squeal, judder, they bind, they're sticking on, they're not coming on cleanly, they're fading very, very quickly, you've got a problem with your braking system. And brakes are kind of important. We do need to be able to stop in an emergency. It's actually helpful to stop when you're not in an emergency, but the brakes are important. If you've noticed a noise coming from the brakes, then get that addressed. It's probably just a matter of changing the pads if we catch it early on. If we leave it and ignore it, we'll probably have to replace the rotors or the brake discs as well, and even other components, and it may need a fluid change as well. That should really be done every 2 years. So if you haven't changed your fluid, get on top of that. That's the biggest cause of brake fade and brake failure in my experience. If the steering starts to feel vague or it wanders, you could have a problem with the power steering pump, the steering mechanism, the wheel bearings could be starting to wear. Anything really that affects the overall handling of the car should be investigated. The most common cause of handling issues is generally down to tyre inflation. If the tyres are underinflated, the handling will be much more sloppy and vague, and that's a relatively easy thing to fix and sort out yourself. Your car is talking to you, not in words. You need to diagnose the problem. So just think about performance, abnormal smells and smoke, noises and vibrations, indicator lights and error codes, and the control and braking feel. If any of those things are starting to happen, investigate the problem, and you can probably avoid a breakdown and avoid a lot more expense down the line if you catch these things early enough. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please boot the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, and a lot of you haven't, please do so. That really does help us to get out there. And I've lined up this video and this playlist that you should find really interesting. And let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like me to cover in future videos. Thanks for watching. See you in these next videos.